yeah, he did find something out. Something, you're related to Thomas Jefferson?
Well, I'm not related to Thomas Jefferson, but I am related to Samuel Kercheval, who was a historian.
I'm going to tell you something about Samuel Kercheval. Him and Jefferson out smoking corn silk. Kercheval told him, Thomas, I don't know about this country. Might want to start again.
He could.
So I don't have a monitor here, so I really can't see what happens at the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. So at what point do I pop up? When the music starts and Mr. Announcer comes on?
Yeah.
So they see all the little panic things that I do that I'm still in the process of setting up?
Yes. They see you shuffle about uncomfortably. They see you blow the dust off your headphones. They see you put in like 2 cough drops at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I don't do 2 at the same time. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know that. I should probably... Now, these shows are archived, right? So I can go back and watch them.
Yes.
So I could like live this show in real time and then go home and, when I say something to Linda like, hey, did you hear when I did this? And I don't watch it. Well, let's get in front of the TV and watch me do it again for 3 straight hours.
Yes, it's archived just like the audio podcast.
Ah, that's right.
And see, this is the thing that gets the NCAA in trouble. Excuse me. When it goes to court here. Is there a clock or not? Greg, we talk about the clock all the time. Mm-hmm. If he began in 2019, the clock should have run out, whether he's played the 4 years or not. And that's part of the argument because some guys go right through the clock, right? TJ Finley, we've mentioned many times on this show. 7th team coming up this year. He's playing for Incarnate Word. He's played 7 seasons at 7 different schools. Now, why hasn't his clock started? Why doesn't he have the 5-year clock? So if you're Aguilar, I get it.
He just bouncing him off the ropes. Somebody save this man. Oh, my Lord. Oh. Very nice, very nice. He hit him with everything he didn't want.
Ten seconds remaining.
Going to be a direct snap here.
Snap back. It's Tyler. Tyler fakes the run. He throws. He's got an open man. Pass top 10. 5. End zone. It's a touchdown. Pulled in by Nestor. 3 seconds left.
Are you kidding me with the play call right there by Kevin Whiteman? Again, forget the game-winning field goal. Whiteman says, we're going to try and win this thing right now. The direct snap to Tyler sucked everybody up. And Nestor slips behind. What an unbelievable gutsy play call and then perfect execution by these Falcons.
Things aren't always going to be great. And sometimes, you can work really, really hard and it's still not great. You're still not successful. But, if you continue to do it, one way or another, things are going to be work out. You're going to be successful. And it may not be in the world's eyes, but, God's made us this way. He's blessed us with so many things. And I think that's one of our attributes that we need to have is we're going to continue to work. We're going to continue to work hard. And if it doesn't work out exactly how we want, just keep plugging away because God's got better plans.
Live from West Virginia's capital city with news from across the state. This is Metro News Midday, presented by Salango Law with 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and Metro News' Dave Allen.
Welcome into 2 o'clock hour on this Tuesday afternoon. It's Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Open line West Virginia coming up at the bottom of the hour. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number, or you can text me 304-TALK-304. It's Metro News Midday.
Metro News Midday is presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com. Join in by calling 800-765-8255 or text 304-TALK-304. Let's go live to downtown Charleston. Here's Dave Allen.
It's a Tuesday edition of Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nicholson, our producers today. Open line West Virginia on the way at the bottom of the hour. 1-800-765-TALK, or you can text 304-TALK-304. Weather, it's everybody, I haven't been outside since 7:05 or so this morning, but I've had so many people that said, oh, it's so beautiful outside till you step outside. And at least here in the capital city, it's a little bit cool, but we're going to warm up. Meteorologist Brian Hughes tells me certainly over the next couple of days. We'll get to Open Line West Virginia, as I said, at the bottom of the hour, but right now I want to welcome to the show Rachel Fetty Anderson. She is a candidate for U.S. Senate, and she joins us now. Good afternoon, and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Dave. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for being here. Who is Rachel Fetty Anderson? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm first and foremost, I guess, a mom. I have a couple of kids that I acquired the average way and a couple of kids that I acquired through guardianship or adoption. I've been a foster parent, and I've worked for a long time as a public interest attorney. I worked long ago where my husband was stationed at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico, and now I work here, and I have for the past almost 20 years, doing public interest work, working for folks who are doing Medicare and Medicaid appeals, working for folks who are trying to get guardianship or custody of their children or their grandchildren, and generally trying to serve the community through the work that it has to be done, and we just don't have good methods to get it done throughout the state.
So why are you running? I mean, you've obviously got a full plate with your job and with your family and everything. Why did you decide to make this run for U.S. Senate?
Well, there are a couple of things that came up just before the president signed the big, beautiful bill. We visited Senator Moore Capito's office and met with her staff to really, really plead that she not sign that bill because the repercussions for folks, for working people in the state of West Virginia was going to be quite impossible, likely for them to bear. We were very concerned about cuts to the ACA subsidies, very concerned about cuts to SNAP. The policies that have been put in place here, things like the right to work, have really substantially cut the ability of working people to be able to negotiate for better pay and better working conditions. And we're in a situation now where for many working people, they have what I call a right to work for food stamps money. And that's a non-living wage that looks like it should be a living wage because it's substantially over the minimum wage, but it's just not enough at the end of the day to pay the highest energy costs in the country, to pay food costs that have skyrocketed, and to pay all of the other costs that families just have to pay just to raise their kids and just to do the best they can. So when she signed that, that was a real wake-up call because of all the people in the Senate at the time who should not have signed it. Just based on the principle of the thing, she did, and so did all of our Republican representatives in Washington, D.C. So that was really painful and hard to bear. But then I also watched the opportunities of my young adult children and the young adult children of everyone I know really shrink as we watched every administration, every part of the administration, every agency be pillaged by DOJ. And then we watched some very severe cuts to their education possibilities. And it seems that, we were just sort of watching the unfurling of a presidency that owed more to its corporate donors than to its voters. And I'm really here to ensure that West Virginians have representation in D.C. that works for them, that remembers that West Virginians pay their salary through their hard work and their toil. I want my representatives, to advocate for policies that benefit the people who live here, rather than the corporations that want to move here and want to exploit us for one reason or the other. The policies that I think we really desperately need to see will be policies that support clean air, clean water, a good education for all, attainable and affordable health care. And I would really like, my kids to say, and every family to be able to encourage their kids to stay here in this really beautiful state with the hardest working people in the country. And it's just not possible now. We've gutted the state in particular. We've really, women in West Virginia are often broke, and they're broken by this huge belief that we're just not equal to men and we don't deserve the same rights that men do. And we can see the outcome of these policies by the data alone. We're scraping the bottom in every category that applies to women, and that's heartbreaking.
We're talking to Rachel Fetty Anderson, again, who is a candidate for U.S. Senate on the Democratic side. West Virginia, obviously you know this, is a very, very red state. For years, it was controlled by the Democrats. Now it's pendulum has swung to the other side. That's, in all fairness, that's got to make it a little bit difficult, I would think, for candidates that are running in an area that is so solidly red to try to get your word out and to try to sway some voters. How do you plan on doing that?
Well, I think that is true, but I don't have to do the work. I think for the most part, Republicans are doing all that work for me. You don't have to do anything but turn on the news, and you don't have to do anything but follow the money to see a direct correlation between donors making large donations to political campaigns, directly to executive orders that authorize AI companies to just gather everybody around to start pillaging, and then watch the West Virginia House and Senate and governor vote to deny FOIA applications to people who want to know who's moving into their neighborhoods, and then these huge meetings where you have 600 people, 400 people gathering to protest these data centers. I don't have to inform West Virginia voters about what's being done to them. They can just watch it. As for how we gently nudge them in a different direction, I think the key is to remind us all that we hire these people to represent us. And if their policies don't work, and if they're obviously dedicated to the well-being of some other corporate interest, then we can just fire them. Now, that doesn't mean that the money is terrifically embedded, and I have concerns about that, of course, but I am well aware that West Virginians don't have any reason to trust politicians. We have to earn every ounce of trust. And even then, I would still say, trust is not something that you're entitled to. So one of the things I did when I started my campaign was that we have a very strict donation policy. We don't accept donations from corporate or industry interests. We don't accept money from PACs that support foreign governments, not of any kind. Because at the end of the day, I think that Citizens United, which gave corporations the illusion of some kind of humanity and entitled them to our human rights, I think that those folks really aren't entitled to it. I still think human rights are for humans only. And I want to make sure that West Virginians know that if I go to represent them in the Senate, that I'm there only for them. I represent only them. If something is in the best interest of another country, that's not relevant to my campaign. It's not relevant to any vote that I have to offer or any decision that I have to make. We have to be committed to the people of West Virginia before we're committed to ourselves and these corporations.
If you are elected, where are you on term limits? Do you think that term limits is something you would support? Do you subscribe to the adage that the ballot box is the ultimate term limit? Where are you on that?
I think that we can just look at the results of having no term limits in the Senate and the House of Representatives. I think, when I was the deputy mayor of the city of Morgantown, we really got quite frustrated because of the constant campaigning that was involved in a 2-year term. And I would advocate for, a maximum of 10 years in the House of Representatives and 2 terms in the Senate. We hear from Senator Capito and others that staying in the Senate or in the House is beneficial in some way to West Virginians, but we certainly don't see those benefits on the ground. Folks just become more and more entrenched. They become more familiar with their donors and their lobbyists than they are with the people that elected them to office. We never see Senator Capito ever. And I've been to her office, and I have been with folks who have stood outside her office here in Morgantown and protested to try to get some kind of contact from her office. But, if she's been there for so long that she doesn't need to see her voters, then she's been there for too long. And I think that's true for all of us. There's some benefit to accepting that we're all human, that power does corrupt, that we become overconfident when things come a little bit too easy, and that our leadership is the same. And it's just, it's important to be humble, I think. And I think term limits are just a necessary, it's sort of a humility stop that should be in place, because we're not doing well. We're not doing well as a country. We're not doing well as a state. And the longer these people think they can stay, the richer they get, the farther away from us they become, the more we're really, really hurting, and they don't even have any way to know that.
Talking to Rachel Fetty Anderson again, who is a candidate for U.S. Senate. Something that you said earlier when you were giving us your bio, you talked about being a parent, but also being a foster parent. And we've all seen the issues with foster care in West Virginia. And our issues here have been, really, we've talked a whole lot about it. I mean, some of the worst in the country, but other areas of the country also have issues as well with foster care. Is there anything, and I don't know as a U.S. Senator what you could do to improve that, but just give us an idea of, if you could, some of the things that you would do to possibly improve the foster care system.
Oh, absolutely. My husband was stationed in New Mexico when he decided to move our family here so he could go to school. And I remember being relieved, because New Mexico also hangs out in sort of West Virginia territory, down at the bottom of infant mortality and some of these really difficult social problems. And I was like, oh, my goodness, we're moving to West Virginia. We are going to be in a really calm, wonderful environment. There's no drugs there. And then, of course, we moved here. And eventually I started working with families outside of the court system who were really struggling with child abuse and neglect and these mental health issues. And then I started working in the court system in child abuse and neglect cases. And I ended up adopting one of my clients. And what I'll tell you is this: states that are colonized, that are stripped of resources for other parts of the country and other parts of the world, have terrible living conditions. They tend to give a lot of privileges to corporations. They tend to pay very little attention to their education system. They dramatically what they do is they allow corporations to get away with not paying taxes and not paying to live in the communities where they exist. Kids get environmentally damaged. Mothers are environmentally damaged. And what I've learned over many, many years is that the way we reduce foster care placements and the need for those placements, the way we reduce maternal drug use, the way we reduce all of these very systemic problems that seem insurmountable, is we invest in education for girls and women. We treat them as if they are equal, because they are bearing more than their fair share of the cost of child rearing and the career costs that come along with being our mothers. And we invest in women and we respect women. And it's not surprising to me. I worked in domestic violence in these two states, and it's no surprise to me that there's a direct relationship between domestic violence and the violence that women experience as girls and the violence they experience in their marriages, where they're simply not equal. Unfortunately, all of those behaviors bear a terrible cost. And I think the thing that we really need to emphasize the most is just the most basic thing that we all know. You have a healthy mama, you have a healthy baby. You have a healthy mama, you have a healthy family. You have a healthy dad who loves and respects his partner, you have a healthy family. It doesn't matter at the end of the day what kind of two parents you have. Every child could use two parents. And we need to start nurturing our environments so they can make havens for families to raise these children so that they're healthy. Right now, I represent many grandparents, and all of their children had babies that were in some way affected by drug use. Those children are challenging to educate. It is hard to serve them in a regular classroom. They need expensive educational services. And what we've done in this state is
we got about 30 seconds, Rachel. I just want to warn you, we got about 30 seconds.
Sure. We've decided that those kids are really expensive. So what we're going to do is we're going to send them home with, $4,000, $5,000 and tell their parents good luck, and then that's the wrong way to do this. We need to invest in our children and families, or we're never going to get out of this hole.
Where can people learn more about your campaign?
They can learn more about my campaign at Fetty Anderson for Senate and .com on my website. And then I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm on all the socials except for X. And they can just look me up, Rachel Fetty Anderson. And thank you so much. I really appreciate the time.
Wish you the best of luck in your campaign. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You as well. 2:24. We'll take a break and come back after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off, or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
When I was heavy, being on my feet all day seemed like torture. It makes you feel defeated. I'm just going to be like this for the rest of my life. But then I thought, I'm done acting like that. I'm not going to be like that anymore. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 265 pounds. It's always been my goal to have my own place. I want everyone to feel welcome here. I would never have been able to do all these things before without WVU Medicine.
For your daily fix of sports in West Virginia, there's only one stop. Sportsline on Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com. Join Kyle Wiggs, Coach Hunter, and Brad Howe weeknights for Sportsline on Metro News Television.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
With Metro News Hotline, if it's trending, it's probably here.
And then the other thing, his last name is one of those weird Norwegian names where they have two vowels that slam into each other. It's like the A and the E are like cemented into each other.
You're like the 12th Dave that works here. What do you think people from Norwegian think about that?
That is fair.
Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on Metro News Television.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Welcome back to the show. It is 2:28. If you're a parent or grandparent worried about how you're going to pay for college, Metro News to the rescue. 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program. One high school junior in the States gets a full ride to Wesleyan, room, board, tuition, and fees all included. Full details available, WVMetroNews.com. Simply click on the Apply Now button. Deadline is May 3rd, 2026. West Virginia Scholar Program presented by Greer Industries and the West Virginia Hospital Association. Go to WVMetroNews.com. Hit that Apply Now button, and the deadline to enter is May 3rd. Also want to remind you that tomorrow is Wednesday, and as we have been doing every Wednesday since we started the show 1 year ago today. Actually, we started the show on a Monday. So, well, anyway, you get the idea. Each Wednesday, since we started doing the show, we do a thing called Wonderful West Virginian, where we put the spotlight on somebody doing great things in their community, but the only way we know about it is if you let us know about it. Talking about people working with veterans, people from the recovery community, people working with youth sports. Last week, we put the spotlight on a gentleman who saved another guy's life after a trucking accident. So that's the kind of stories we're looking for. Drop us an email, midday@WVMetroNews.com, midday@WVMetroNews.com. Reach out to either Amanda Barron or myself on social media, Dave Allen Radio on Facebook or @DaveA70 on X. And then listen up Wednesday, tomorrow, and every Wednesday at 1:06, where we will introduce you to this week's wonderful West Virginian. Again, drop us an email, midday@WVMetroNews.com, or reach out to either one of us, Amanda Barron or myself, on social media, Dave Allen Radio on Facebook or @DaveA70 on X. You're listening to Metro News Midday. Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nichols, and our producers today. We'll take a break. Open Line West Virginia is coming up. And now we'll go to the Metro News Anchor Desk for a check of local news. You're listening to Midday on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. The State Public Service Commission says it will hold an evidentiary hearing on the Morrow transmission line the last week of October. Next Era Energy is seeking siting approval from the PSC. The line would go from Pennsylvania through West Virginia to Maryland. The PSC has issued a scheduling order. The order says the commission plans to make its decision on the line the first week of March 2027. You can link to the full PSC schedule at WVMetroNews.com. The 2025 West Virginia Construction and Design Expo getting underway this evening in Charleston. Construction Association of West Virginia President and CEO Jason Pizzatella says there's a lot to like about where things are going.
People are really believing in West Virginia. They're believing in the industry. They know that there are some really exciting things ongoing as we speak here today.
We have a preview story at WVMetroNews.com. Governor Patrick Morrisey continues to review bills from the regular legislative session. Morrissey has taken no action yet on the bill called the Vape Safety Act. The bill puts a number of regulations on where vape shops can be located and the advertising associated with them. Bill sponsor, Delegate David McCormick, says part of the legislation is focused on being a deterrent.
I feel like by curbing the efforts of some of these rogue vape shops to market and sell to our kids, and they are kids, might prevent them from doing something worse in the future.
You can read more at WVMetroNews.com. You're listening to Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
If you have a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or know someone that does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd. For details, go to WVMetroNews.com to apply. That's WVMetroNews.com. Remember, application deadline is May 3rd.
Now showing on Metro News Television, your friends at Hope Gas and Greer Industries present State of Minds. Tony Caridi talks with world champion lumberjack Arden Koger.
What my father taught me was the importance of hard work and the importance of sweat equity.
State of Minds, now showing on Metro News TV. Presented by Hope Gas and Greer Industries, only on the Metro News Television app.
A Texas man will have to pay nearly $2,000 in restitution to the federal government for damage he did to the federal building in Bluefield. 48-year-old Will Samuels of Jefferson, Texas, was sentenced today to time served and restitution after an earlier guilty plea to destruction of government property. It was November 19, 2023, when Samuels repeatedly threw objects at two glass exterior doors located at the front of the Elizabeth Key Federal Building. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
Listen, I'm a West Virginian through and through. Grew up in Bridgeport, 35 years in the Charleston area. Rooted for the Mountaineers since, well, let's not talk ages. You won't find a bigger fan of our teams, but they get called out when they deserve it. Metro News Hotline is the same for everything. Movies, music, local happenings, my inside knowledge, and occasional rants. Meet Coop's sharp humor, guaranteed to spark good talk radio. Think you can keep up? We're your afternoon anecdote to the ordinary on weekdays 3 to 6 on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
This is Metro News Midday, presented by Salango Law. SalangoLaw.com.
Welcome back to the show. 26 away from 3 o'clock. It is Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit SalangoLaw.com. Stephanie Pauly, Ryan Nicholson, our producers today. Open line West Virginia, 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK 304. Before I get into your text phone calls, I do want to say this. Today, as we mentioned earlier, it was the 1-year anniversary of the launch of Metro News Midday. It was an idea that was hatched, for lack of a better term, well before it went on the air. We went on the air March 24th of last year. We started working on the show in probably late fall. That's when, well, actually before that was even when the idea came to do this, and for it not only to have a radio component, but also a Metro News television component as well. And just a couple of people to thank real quickly. George Pelletier, the head of the company here, Joe Parsons, who's now retired. Now he's legislator Joe Parsons. His son Jared, who's the manager here at WVRC Media Charleston. Folks, I don't want to leave somebody out. You know, of course, our producers, Ryan Nicholson, Stephanie Pauly, Matt Guitar Murphy, Dale Cooper, who really, really was instrumental in launching this thing from day one. Probably did more work before we went on the air than anybody did. So big shout out to the boss, Dale Cooper, and the sales staff, Larry Post, just so many people that have helped and believed in what we're doing here. But you know, two very important ones. Number one, Salango Law for sponsoring the show, because when we first started throwing this idea around, Ben Salango of Salango Law said, I'll sponsor it. And we're like, okay, well, what do we charge for it? But a big shout out to him. But more importantly, to you, the listeners, because without you'ns, they ain't no ussens. And you guys really, really have given us a lot of positive feedback on the show and negative feedback too. And that's okay, because you learn from the negative feedback. But we get a lot of text and people saying how much they enjoy the show. We get other texts, people say, well, you should do more of this, or you should do more. The most common thing I found in doing talk radio is people, and this is not necessarily on Amanda's segment, it's more on my segment after 2, and I get it on the local show in Charleston, and other talk show hosts will tell you this most common thing that you get is, why do you put that person on the air? And it doesn't matter whether it's Republican, Democrat, liberal, or conservative. That's probably the most common thing that we get. I had Senator Shelley Moore Capito on the show last week, and somebody texted the show and said, why would you platform her? Well, because she's a senator. That's why. The same reason that we play. And I get to be fair, I get the same thing anytime we have Democrats on the show too. But it's all for good, and we appreciate so much you, the listener, for making the show a success. And 1 year in, we called it the experiment because we didn't really know what to make of it. You know, I used to work with someone who was fond of the term, you don't know what you don't know. And when you take something that's not there, like this show wasn't, and you build it from the ground up, and you try things and you say, well, that didn't work too well, or this did work well. And then people coming at you with ideas, well, why not this? Why not that? You know, whatever. It's all come together pretty well. And I hope, as I mentioned earlier, I was texting back and forth with the president of the company last night, and I just said, you know, please let us stay till 3, because that way we can say we got a full 1 year in. And in the style of our boss, he texts back and said, call me at 11:50 a.m. So, but we have fun here. Thank you so much. And I'll say this on a personal note, and I can't necessarily say this for Amanda because she works for 2 companies, whereas I only work for 1. WVRC Media is a fantastic corporation to work for. I've been here for 6 years in total. You couldn't ask for a better group of people to work with on a day-to-day basis. Not only the names that you've heard, perhaps more importantly, the names that you don't know, the ones that we use in passing and reference. I'm a big believer in our world, radio, television. People have always said, well, you know, without sales, there's nothing. And then without the on-air talent, there's nothing. Or without engineering, well, I'll say this, without the engineering, there really is nothing. Okay, I'll say that. But it's a combination effort of everybody working together. And that's one of the great things about this company. And it doesn't matter whether we're talking about Metro News, whether we're talking about the individual station, individual clusters, and all the towns that we're in. You just got a great group of people here, man. I mean, you really, really do. And it's a great group of West Virginia people. And that tagline, whoever came up with it, I did not. Certainly, I'm not that smart, but somebody came up with that. We're proud to live here, too. We are proud to live here, too. And our idea every day when any of us go on the air is we just want to give the best news and the best content and the information, whether it's the serious stuff, whether it's the weather stuff, whether it's sports stuff, whether it's fun stuff. We want to do the best we can. And, but it's all because of you, and we appreciate it. So no more dwelling on that. We'll have some pictures posted on social media, because, you know, our folks did take a lot of pictures. So I've been busy doing this little radio thing. So Dave Allen Radio, if you follow me on Facebook, I'll have some pictures posted a little bit later on. I think somebody even did a video as well. So just wanted to take time to say thank you. I'm done. And 1 year down, and here's to hopefully many, many more. 20 minutes away from 3 o'clock. Let's get to some text. Text said a question regarding your interview with Judge Kirkpatrick, the case about the police chemist tainted results. When was that case? That was the Fred Zane case, and it really was in the late 80s. And I was doing I got that text earlier, actually during the break, and I was doing a little research on that. And it is a fascinating story. I remember it very well. I was in college when the story came out, and I remember the Fred Zane case very well. But if you ever want to do a deep dive, do some reading on that, it was a very, very fascinating case. So go check it out. Text says these people pushing data centers need to listen to the people. We do not want them in our neighborhoods. Well, I think the people that don't want them have been the most vocal, but I also think that there are a lot of people that either say that they would like to have more information or full throttle, let's do it. So I have been very honest about my opinion on them, and that is if you want to put one in my backyard, put one in my backyard. I'll move. But that's just me. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. Text says, happy 1-year anniversary. Love the show. Thank you very much. Text says, enjoyed the last interview that you did. Seems like a common sense candidate, meaning she will not be elected in West Virginia. Interview, a texter referencing an interview with Rachel Fetty Anderson, who is a Democrat running for U.S. Senate. Text says, don't tell weekly, but you become my favorite time to listen. Love your humor and most of your views. And they put the little smiley face after it. Beat the cancer, dude. I plan to. I plan to. And I will not tell weekly, texter, that you have said that you like listening to me. What weekly has on me is height, and that's about it. No, I'll tell you, I knew Dave Weekly. Of course, everybody knows Dave Weekly. He's a legend. But really got to know him a lot when I came to work here, and especially since we started to do a Metro News Midday, since we encounter each other on a daily basis. He's been been very good to the show as well. Text says, so are we having talks with Iran, as Trump says, or are we not talking, as Iran says? Which is it, Donald? Text says, voting is a right, and if the Republicans want voter IDs, they should pay for it. Well, they're free. 1-800-765-TALK is the phone number. Text 304-TALK-304. It's 2:43. We'll take a break and come back after this.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
When I was heavy, being on my feet all day seemed like torture. Makes you feel defeated. I'm just going to be like this for the rest of my life. But then I thought, I'm done acting like that. I'm not going to be like that anymore. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 265 pounds. It's always been my goal to have my own place. I want everyone to feel welcome here. I would never have been able to do all these things before without WVU Medicine.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. Take your pick from our massive selection. Now up to $5,500 off select new Acadias and 3.9% for 60 months. The great deals continue with our large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
The conversation starts long before the game.
He doesn't do this to other guests, but every time I'm on here, he creates distractions.
Disrespectful.
With his phone. I mean,
I have to have the phone on in case Pete Thamel breaks another story.
Oh, yeah.
Join Tony Carini, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for Three Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at wvmetronews.com.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
With Metro News Hotline. If it's trending, it's probably here.
And then the other thing, his last name is one of those weird Norwegian names where they have two vowels that slam into each other. It's like the A and the E are like cemented into each other.
You're like the 12th Dave that works here. What do you think people from Norwegian think about that?
That is fair.
Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on Metro News Television.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Welcome back to the show. 13 away from 3 o'clock. It's Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law. Visit salangolaw.com. Open line West Virginia, 1-800-765-TALK. That is the phone number. Text 304-TALK 304. Metro News Midday, heard all over the great state of West Virginia for one full year now. Well, not yet. It will be at 3 o'clock. On great radio stations like WKKX and WVLY in Wheeling, WSLW White Sulphur Springs, WAJR Morgantown, WEPM Martinsburg, WVAW Logan, WKLP Kaiser, WD&E in Elkins, WKMZ Clarksburg, WCHS for Flagship here in Charleston, and WJLS in Beckley. When I was thanking all the folks earlier for the show, turning one today, I failed to mention the affiliates because they're carrying the show, and some of them don't have to. Text says, just a word of caution to travelers. Exit blocked on Boulevard, I-64 West, Charleston, by the way. Exit block at Campbell's Creek on Piedmont Road. Had to turn around and get back on Interstate at Greenbrier Street. 10-minute drive turned into 30 minutes. We need, this is in all caps now, which lets you know it's serious. We need more signs of closures. Text says, great season for the WVU women's basketball team. You made us all very proud. Exciting game. Exciting close to the game last night. I was not in attendance, but I did watch it last night. Text says, how do you tell if Donald Trump is lying? His lips are moving. America voted for a con man. Check says, following up on your comments yesterday, Route 35 between Putnam and Mason County is terrible. I drive it daily for work. I think the state needs to buy me a new car, or at least to pay for a front end alignment for my car. Tex says, congratulations to the newest member of the House of Delegates, Donald Bennett. He'll do a great job. Side note, he was appointed by Governor Morrissey to replace the late Larry Kump. Just so you know who they're talking about. Tex says, I find it amusing you go to a town hall meeting about data centers. All the people complaining are keeping their notes on their cell phones and laptops. I find things like that very, in the words of my brother-in-law, ironical. Text says, only Donald Trump could make the mainstream media suddenly use Iran as a trusted source. LOL. That was actually pretty good. Text says, so glad they're finally doing something about vaping. It's disgusting. That was something that was championed by a few folks, most notably Delegate David McCormick out of Mon County. Editor's note, programming note, Delegate McCormick will be on the show tomorrow during the 2 o'clock hour. Text says, so glad to hear someone say not everyone needs to go to college and get a degree. I've done just fine without going to college, and I will encourage my kids to go to trade school as well. We've had a lot of conversations on this show. I did on the local show in Charleston. Also, the Talk Line boys did too with Jason Pizzatella from the Contractors Association of West Virginia. Of course, they have their big 2-day shindig happening at the Coliseum Convention Center here in Charleston. And Jason and I are kind of on the same page here. We're certainly not saying anything negative about college. We're just saying that, in our opinion, is that a traditional college is maybe not for everyone. And during my generation, as I said yesterday during the interview with Jason, it was preached to us, as I graduated high school in the late 80s, you got to go to college, you go to college. And the truth is, as much as I love my time at Southern West Virginia Community and Technical College and later Marshall University, I was a guy that probably should not have gone to college. Now, the good thing about college is that's where I met my wife, and we've been happily married for 30-some-odd years. I know what it is. I just can't do the math. 34 in September. But I knew what I wanted to do from the time I was about 6 or 7 years old on. I wanted to be on the radio. And I started doing it when I was 17 years old. I actually started before that, if you want to count the high school radio station. And it was from that, with all due respect to the folks at Marshall University, fine broadcasting program, I was actually a public relations major, minored in broadcasting. Fine institution for broadcasting. I mean, it produced Dave Wilson, so, okay, that's not a good example. But, yeah, I probably wasn't for me. I just think that we need to do a better job with people saying, look, if you've got an aptitude for something, working with your hands, it's that is shown from a very, very young age, just like I knew how to talk, I think that I love the fact that we're starting to get over this narrative that everybody's got to go to college and pushing the trades a little bit more. All right. Tex said, Dave, don't forget the Glendale Woodall case when he was erroneously convicted and falsely accused of 8 rapes. The man lost everything, including his family, and was later released after it was found the lab worker falsified the DNA results to get a conviction. That's the kind of injustice that no amount of money will amend. Yeah, that's the Zane case. That's one element of the Zane case that we referenced earlier. Tex says, great season for the WVU girls team. Seems unfair that the boys team gets a free trip to Las Vegas after mediocre performances. Wren should step up and send the girls somewhere as a reward. Tex says, Mr. Allen, were you on WMUL Marshall? Yes, I was. That's where I met our producer, Stephanie Pauly, as a matter of fact, at WMUL. Tex says, more liberal tears on Metro News. It gets old. Tex says, happy anniversary, much better than Rush Limbaugh. Well, no, I don't know. It's just different than Rush. Look, Rush Limbaugh single-handedly saved AM radio. So for that, I will ever be. I think about this sometimes. Rush Limbaugh, of course, was a big Donald Trump supporter. I wonder how he would react to MAGA a few years after his death. What it's become now. I wonder these things. I also wonder is it time to take a break? And the answer, according to Ryan, is yes. So we'll be back after this.
At Glenville State University, we are pioneers. With over 45 undergraduate degree programs, 17 NCAA athletic teams, and countless campus organizations and activities, we're here to help you build your story while becoming a part of ours. Glenville State University, your dream, your future, your story. Visit glenville.edu today for more information.
If you have a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or know someone that does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd. For details, go to wvmetronews.com to apply. That's wvmetronews.com. Remember, application deadline is May 3rd.
We'll be right back. This is Metro News Midday. Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
When I was heavy, being on my feet all day seemed like torture. Makes you feel defeated. I'm just going to be like this for the rest of my life. But then I thought, I'm done acting like that. I'm not going to be like that anymore. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 265 pounds. It's always been my goal to have my own place. I want everyone to feel welcome here. I would never have been able to do all these things before without WVU Medicine.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. Take your pick from our massive selection. Now up to $5,500 off select new Acadias and 3.9% for 60 months. The great deals continue with our large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science.
Conversation starts long before the game.
He doesn't do this to other guests, but every time I'm on here, he creates distractions.
Disrespectful.
With his phone. I mean,
I have to have the phone on in case Pete Thamel breaks another story.
Join Tony Carini, Brad Howe, and Hoppy Kercheval for Three Guys Before the Game. Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at wvmetronews.com.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
With Metro News Hotline. If it's trending, it's probably here.
And then the other thing, his last name is one of those weird Norwegian names where they have two vowels that slam into each other. It's like the A and the E are like cemented into each other.
You're like the 12th Dave that works here. What do you think people from Norwegian think about that?
That is fair.
Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on Metro News Television.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at wvhtf.org.
Welcome back to the show. Just about to wrap it up, Mr. Weekly. So I break the microphone here. I only have about a minute and a half left before they fire me here. So I want to make it a full year, and I've got to make it to 2:59:42. So now that's 1 minute from now.
Let me be the first to congratulate you on your 1 year anniversary.
Actually, you weren't the first, but it's okay.
I know.
Did you
that
see
was
it?
like my idea of a little joke.
See all the food in there?
Yeah, I haven't even gone back to check that out yet. I remember our first anniversary. I think somebody got me some expiring curly fries or something.
Well, but we got a lot of sweets in there.
Really?
Not.
I heard you have a really nice cake.
There's a nice cake and cookies that are even. I mean, one of those cookies was so big that Rob Reel from our sister station said, "I don't even know if I could eat that." So that's a big old cookie.
Well, Ryan, I mean, come on, man. He's the master of these things, and he hasn't even been back there yet.
I saw him. He had paper and pencil out in there. He was drawing, diagrams on how he plans to attack it. All right, Weekly and Coop and the team coming up on many of these same Metro News stations. I got to go. Thank you so much to everybody. See you again tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.